I didn't think bringing home a piece of American history would turn me into a public enemy. But then again, I hadn't met our HOA president yet. A woman so petty, she vandalized a U.S. Navy patrol boat and then fined me for it. Here's how a historic vessel, 1 can of gold spray paint, and a woman named Karen turned my quiet retirement into a national news story, and eventually a federal court case. After 22 years in the Navy, 11 of those spent captaining a Mark VI patrol boat, I finally retired last year and settled down just outside Tampa, Florida. I bought a waterfront property in a gated community with a canal that leads directly to the bay. It was peaceful, secure, and seemed like the perfect place to drop anchor. Literally. I'd arranged to purchase and restore an old decommissioned Navy patrol boat, the same kind I'd commanded in the Persian Gulf. It was beat up but seaworthy, and I thought it would be a fitting tribute to my career, a floating restoration project I could work on in retirement and maybe use to take fellow vets out on the water. I got all the permits. The boat was moored legally at my dock. No engines running, no noise, no oil spills. Just a sleek, gray piece of naval hardware tied up neatly beside my property. But on day 2, Karen showed up. Her name's really Karen Delaney, HOA president of Bayshore Landing. Blonde bob, mirrored sunglasses, and a personality like overcooked tilapia. She walked straight into my backyard without knocking, pointed at the patrol boat and said, "That thing is a violation of community image standards." I explained that I had proper Marine and HOA permits, I had copies on hand, and that I wasn't running a business, just restoring a naval artifact. She sneered and said, "This isn't the military, Mr. Battleship. This is a community." 3 days later, I got the first violation letter, unauthorized commercial vessel. Then came the fines, $500 a day, then $1,000. By week 3, the total hit $12,000. I appealed, denied. But that wasn't the worst part. One morning, I came outside to find her standing on my dock, gold spray paint can in hand. My boat, navy gray, freshly sandblasted, now had giant words across the side, "Ugly war junk," and below that, in dripping paint, "Not in my neighborhood, HO." I caught it all on camera. I yelled, she fled. I called the sheriff. They came, took my statement and confronted her, and she said I did it myself to stir drama. She claimed the security footage was doctored. The HOA, they sided with her. Even after she admitted in an email, which I later subpoenaed, that she wished she'd used white paint instead of gold. They still fined me $250,000. Yes, $250,000. Their claim? The patrol boat violated community brand guidelines, and the vandalism degraded the neighborhood's image, making me responsible. I lawyered up. A few things Karen didn't count on. I had over a dozen former Navy buddies who were also attorneys, engineers, and one very persuasive retired federal judge. My restoration was funded in part by a Naval Heritage Grant and registered with the state of Florida as a historical preservation project. The HOA's own bylaws had a clause exempting watercraft under private maintenance if moored on private property, which I was. My attorney filed suit in federal court for property damage, defamation, harassment, and illegal fines. We subpoenaed her HOA emails, financials, and internal messages. What we found: she had tried to push a community bylaw banning military equipment in all forms, targeting not just my boat, but also a neighbor's deuce-and-a-half truck and another vet's helicopter weather vane. She had an anti-military streak a mile wide. Ironic for someone who loves America every 4th of July. The court ruled in my favor. Karen was found personally liable for the vandalism. She had to pay $42,000 in damages and legal costs. The HOA's fine was declared unenforceable and illegal under state law. The board dissolved within 2 months due to mass resignations and public outrage. As for the boat, I repainted it, installed new comms equipment, and renamed it the Liberty Karen in gold lettering, of course. Now every Memorial Day, we launch from my dock with a few dozen veterans and sail proudly past Karen's old house. She moved to Boca Raton in shame. We salute, we wave, and we remember what happens when pettiness meets patriotism.